There you go. Really pack it.
Hello and welcome to 100% Real with Ruby. Today we are the anti-wankery duo. We are discussing body fat percentage tests, and I guess the biggest part of all this is just how much weight people place on them, and it's almost like they think InBody or DEXA or something like that is not only determining their health status, but they act as though it's this holy grail of accuracy. Like, I actually put on this much percentage body fat, or this much percentage muscle, or I'm losing this much percentage body fat. And there are so many people that get a measure and then say, oh, I gained this much muscle and I lost this much fat, it must be working. Or I've been working out for this long and I put on weight and apparently it's all fat, but I'm supposed to be in a deficit. But a lot of the time people don't realize what actually constitutes lean body mass, which is more than muscle. It's your muscle, it's water weight, it's your organs, it's glycogen, your diet composition. If you're eating a high carb diet, that will impact it. But I think I'm going to let Tom take over now.
Yeah, so there's a few different angles that we can take here. Like, this is quite a broad topic, but realistically, before we even dive into how accurate the machines are and things like that, I think it's really important that we pay a lot of attention to why we want to know data. So it's really common for people to try to work out what their body fat percentage is. There are a ton of different ways you can do it. There's the Navy body fat calculator, which uses some measurements and kind of estimates it using an algorithm. And then you've got things like DEXA scans or InBody scanners, or a lot of people try to estimate their body fat percentage using the electrical scales that you can get in your bathroom where you stand on them and it spits out a number. And accuracy aside, I would always just be really cautious to think, well, you don't need this. I tend to equate body fat percentage to hair length, right? So if you are deciding whether or not you need to go to the hairdressers to get a haircut, you don't take out a tape measure and measure your hair and think, oh, well, okay, it's 10 centimeters, a bit longer than I wanted, so it's going to have to get cut. You just look in the mirror and say, I'm not happy with my hair, I'm going to go and get it cut. And body fat percentage is the same. If you're thinking, you know what, I would like to lose a little bit of body fat, the number on the scale or the number on the tape measure shouldn't really affect that. Like, if you feel like you want to lose a bit of body fat, or if you're looking at gaining a little bit of muscle, you don't need to put a number on that. You can just go and do it. And so even if these machines were accurate, I would always question the necessity to even take these figures in the first place, you know?
Yeah, and at the same time, it's almost like you need to assess yourself before you get any reading or before you get any test, because at the same time, you could feel really good in your skin and feel like you actually look good to only step on a body fat. Like, the most inaccurate thing you ever use is a bathroom scales to read your body fat. That is the most inaccurate form. But if you're getting something like InBody, that is still inaccurate. And we can talk about the scale number, or we can talk about a body fat percentage. But if we are going to use that as your measure of only progress, or I was feeling really good about myself until I got this reading, that it's almost like you just said that you felt really good in your body and you were making progress. This could be the very thing that then leads to you sabotaging. So maybe we can talk about the inaccuracies of a body fat test and just what actually makes up a body fat test.
It's such an important point. It's really common for people to say, don't pay attention to the scales. If you feel really good, don't look at how much you weigh and use that to judge yourself. And everyone kind of accepts this. But then as soon as you add other things like body fat percentage, people are basically making the same mistake. Just because the data seems a little bit more fancy doesn't mean that it's got any more of a bearing on your worth, or just it shouldn't have any more bearing on the way you think about yourself. And this is even more the case because, as you mentioned, these things are just not accurate. So what you've got to think about is there are a number of different ways that things can measure or more accurately estimate what your body fat percentage is, and none of them are good. So you can take anthropomorphic measurements. So this is where you're going to look at, say, your height versus your weight, and this gives you your BMI. Everyone pretty much understands that while this can be a useful figure, it's not that accurate for determining how healthy you are as a person. And then there are other things. So I've mentioned the Navy Body Fat Calculator. This uses your height, your waist, your neck, measurements like this to kind of put into an algorithm and sort of estimate what your body fat percentage is. Now, that's obviously not going to be accurate, because if you take a waist measurement, for example, it's got no bearing on how much of that is fat. You might just have really big obliques and the like. But it doesn't get any better when you're using better technology. It just gets slightly better, I suppose. So if you're looking at the bathroom scales that you've got, where you stand on them and they spit out a body fat percentage, all that's happening there is it's called bioelectrical impedance. So these machines weigh you, and they put that into the calculation, but then they also send an electrical current through your body and measure the resistance to that current. And based upon the resistance that they receive from that current, they plug those numbers into an algorithm and kind of spits out a figure of like water and muscle mass and all of that kind of stuff. But because it's just based in electrical impedance, as the name suggests, or electrical resistance, you can throw these off wildly. So if you are ever feeling like your bathroom scales are saying that you've lost muscle or gained muscle or whatever, stand on the scale, take a measurement, drink a litre of water over the next hour, then take another measurement, and I promise you those numbers will be different. And if that's the case, if hydration can throw these figures off that much, and that's before we talk about things like food in your stomach, food in your digestive system, and all of that, which can also make a big difference. If the simple act of drinking a litre of water means that you get a radically different body fat and muscle mass percentage on the scale, I would suggest that you can just flat ignore these. It would be almost like weighing yourself on bathroom scales to try and work out how much gravity is affecting you. But one of the feet of the scale is on sand that like presses down in a random amount. Like, it's just wildly inaccurate. It's not useful whatsoever. Even DEXA scans. So I can't remember what DEXA, it's dual X-ray absorptiometry, I think, DEXA scan. So it's kind of like a really fancy X-ray, where what it does is it sends a bunch of different kinds of rays through your body, and it can measure different tissues. Even then, DEXA scans are unable to differentiate between muscle mass and glycogen. So if you eat a low-carb diet, or if you eat in a calorie deficit, a DEXA scan will tell you that you've lost muscle mass, because you will reduce your muscle size because you'll reduce glycogen. As soon as they then start eating back at maintenance, or as soon as you start eating carbs again, your muscles will fill up with glycogen, and a DEXA scan will tell you that you've gained muscle. Ultimately, none of these measurements are particularly accurate. Some of them can possibly measure progress. Like if you get a DEXA scan in the same conditions, so eating a roughly similar diet, and then 4 weeks later you get another DEXA scan, the difference between those two scans will be somewhere close to reality, and so it can kind of tell you if you've made a little bit of progress. But as like a one-off measurement, they're functionally useless. And if you're looking at like bathroom scales or even the in-body scanners that you get at gyms, they're just not accurate enough to allow these things to destroy your self-confidence and make you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah, and I guess something to really keep in mind with all of that is that when you're allowing yourself to be swayed by some, like a lot of gyms, for example, they put out these challenges and say, let's just get your scan before the challenge. And then you do the challenge, and what do you know? All of a sudden, so they get you to weigh in, they get you to get your body fat percentage and your muscle mass percentage. They give you a specific diet plan, and they get you to train. And by the end of that, they're like, okay, let's get a check-in. And it's been like 8-12 weeks. And then they're like, okay, you gained 4% of muscle and lost 4% of fat. Now, there is no way that that would be reality in that short period of time for starters. And if there are then people saying that they're in a deficit, but they're gaining body fat, what do you think that is? Like, if you're going to cut carbs, that would be dropping a lot of weight, your muscles would be depleted. So, say for example, you ate or something before it, which then brought your overall weight up, and then you got weighed, but your muscles are pretty much empty because there's no carbs in there to hold anything. That's going to give a reading of a lower lean body mass and a higher body fat mass percentage. And I remember when I wanted to actually trial the body fat percentage test, and I did a DEXA while I was competing, and I was eating at maintenance, and I got my reading. It was like 12%, or was it 11? It was 11%. And then
it's such an important
a lower carb diet, I didn't have as much muscle mass to my fat mass, like percentage. A lower body fat percentage, but it's just like so many different things skew this. And at the same time, it's like, why would you give so much weight to a body fat percentage test when we're in this for a look? Like, it's the same thing with the scale weight. And there's like this skewed messaging around where it's like, but I want to be healthy. A scale weight doesn't tell you how healthy you are. Oh, but my BMI or my doctor said. Doctors are so fucking stupid with this shit. If you lift, the doctor is, I don't want to say the doctor's not for you, because doctors are for everybody, but like, they don't understand that you are not within the Gen Pop plebs. You are a fit person that lifts weight. The best way to measure anything is you want to make sure that your waist circumference is half that of your height, at least. Like, that's about it. You want your waist circumference to be half your height. Aside from that, if you actually care about your health, get your blood panel checked, get your cholesterol checked, get your liver enzymes, get your vitamins, get your hormones, get your thyroid, get a full blood panel. That is the best indicator of your health, not a body fat percentage test. That's highly inaccurate. The only way to get an accurate reading on a body fat test is to get killed by someone and then them just like weigh out your muscle mass, which then again will be completely different from when it was in your body and it was full of water, it was full of blood, it was full of all of that stuff as well. Like, this is the difference. And it's almost the same as when you feel really big after doing 100 reps on the leg press. Your legs are full of glycogen. Like, can you imagine the body fat percentage reading that would be after leg day compared to one after arm day? Because when I was a personal trainer, they had one of those like scans. It wasn't in body, it was one where they actually, it was like a ultrasound. They like put the gel on the radar and they like scan you in all different areas every single day. Yeah, it was such a good test because
that's really weird.
Those ones are actually pretty accurate because they actually measure the stuff. But the thing is, so many things change that. I just said that those are really damn accurate because it's an ultrasound. Like, it's actually looking inside of you. But guess what? My body fat percentage changed every single day, from rest day to leg day to upper body day, because of the difference there. Like, I ate the same breakfast, I drank the same stuff. It's still impacted from the day before, though. Like, my diet was pretty much the same, but it was still impacted by other factors. Maybe one day I actually drank more in the morning. Who knows? But that's the thing. And I used to be a comp prep coach, and I still didn't give a fuck what people's scale weight was. I didn't care for a scale and a body fat percentage. Why? Because they're not going to go to you on stage and be like, okay, I'm going to weigh every single one of you and I'm going to judge you based on that. No, it's a physique sport. It's based on what you look like. Oh, okay, so body fat percentage matters. No, because they're not going to be testing that either. It's by a look. And what is it you're doing this for anyway? Is it to get some record scorecard by the end of it and be like, you just achieved this body fat percentage, A+ on your life, A+ on your, I sound like freaking Dolores from Harry Potter. Like, no, it's not. You're doing this to feel confident. You're doing this to get an end outcome. And most people's goals aren't even their own. They just see people chasing body fat percentages, see people chasing like, let's just get leaner, let's just lose weight. So to think that's what they need to do to get to some arbitrary outcome. But it's like, you're doing this to feel better for yourself, to feel healthy. Like, yeah, that's my rant. You can add on your 2 cents there.
I think you made loads of really good points. Like, a huge thing for me is that, well, a huge thing for me is that the whole point of all of this, whether it's nutrition or training or anything like that, is to make your life better. It's, you want to be happier, you probably want to be a bit healthier, and you want to be a little bit more confident. I always come back to, you're at some point going to be 60, 70, 80, 90 years old, hopefully, and you're going to look back on your life and you're going to have things you're proud of, things you're happy about, and things you regret. And you are never going to regret not achieving a lower body fat percentage on a scale. You are never going to be proud of that time when you got that number really, really low. What you're going to look back on in your later years is all of the fun and enjoyment that you sucked out of your younger years. And after a certain point of leanness, that doesn't get any better. And whether you put a number on it or not, it's just not something that I genuinely think is worth shooting for. If you want to compete in physique sports, fine, different thing. But for most people who don't compete, chasing extremely low body fat percentages is not just excessively difficult and restrictive. It's almost a bit of a waste of time. Like, how much time and effort and emotional weight do you place on the figure that you see on a body fat percentage measurement that could be spent doing things that are significantly more fulfilling? It feels like a waste.
Yeah, there's actually this quote, well, this saying that I say, where it's just like, if you were to put everything into a pie of how much you think about your body, how much you berate yourself, how much is obsessed over the food you eat, the training you're doing, the calories you're burning, all of that into a pie, versus if you did I recommend people typing into Google the personal values assessment and doing that to see what it comes out with. There's 2, but there's one of them really in particular that weighs things up really well. I think it's like the PVA or something. I have it if any of you want to one of us, I can send you the link. But if you put your values onto that, like your family, your kids, you say you're doing this for your kids, or you say you're doing this for a certain like you say your family matters to you and whatever else there is. But most of your thoughts are going into what your body looks like, how much you don't like your body, all the things you want to change. Like, I go through Facebook groups and every second post is, how can I fix this part of my arm? How can I tone up this area when there's nothing even there to tone up? What can I do to get rid of this weird thing on my thigh? What about this weird part over here? It's like, where did this crazy obsession come from? Like, is this honestly making me feel better? I get it, because I was there. Like, I fucking suffered an eating disorder for years, guys. Like, I know what it's like to hate your body that much. But there is another side to it where you're not picking yourself apart all the time. And it's a freaking freeing place to be. And it is possible. Like, I'm like showing you, like, it's just like, am I not a human? Am I not doing the same thing as you? Do you not see me on the same journey as you? Like, I get it. And it's almost like people see us coaches as just robots or people dishing out some other shit. But it's like, I get it. We get it. We are humans too. Like, we know that, like, I think at the same time, social media has warped it up so much in making it feel like weight loss isn't a good goal, or that changing your body or wanting to look better is not a good goal. But that's because it shouldn't be a goal. It should be part of your way to a more meaningful goal. It doesn't mean that we don't support it, because we do. And dude, I want to look freaking good. Like that is like I want to be a triple course snack. Like, come on. That is why I train. Like, I want bigger glutes. I want my glutes to look better. I want my legs to look better. I'm looking for all these areas I can improve, but that isn't my goal. My goal is to improve on the lifts and to get stronger at those lifts and the things that actually can be done. Like, you can tangibly get them. I can't tangibly wave my wand and say, Wingardium Leviosa, but lift yourself up and start growing. Like, you can't you can't hack hard work. Like, you need to do the hard work, and that hard work should be what you're focusing on. Like, instead of saying I want this as a goal, which is like whatever body it is, have it as what does it take to achieve that goal, and then make those action steps your goals, being consistent at those. Because what's to say you're going to get happy when? If anything, you get more dissatisfied, you get more nitpicky, and that circle gets more and more taken over by body thoughts. When you start any journey to get fitter, that's when those body thoughts come in. You could always be better. I can always improve more. As soon as you start a journey, that starts to become more of a focus. Your body starts to become more of a focus. When I got leaner, that was the worst of my body image I ever had. And I don't think I said it on our podcast, so I'll say it again. It's a crude example, but look at anorexics, for example. Where I was skin and bones. Those people are skin and bones, and they still see themselves as fat. What does that tell you about body image? It's not about the body. So you can get whatever you want to be and still not feel good enough, because this hasn't changed and you haven't grown in the process.
100%. I mean, like, I've been in this industry for a really long time, and I think one of the strangest realizations you have is when you go out to dinner with like fitness models and competitors and all of that when you're at expos. And these are the people that you see on magazines. These are the people that ordinary folk like you and me compare themselves to and feel bad about themselves. And these people have like crippling body image issues. And it's like, these are the people whose physiques give everyone else crippling body image issues, apparently. And it's wild to me how true it is that body image has got essentially nothing to do with what you look like, and it's everything to do with what you experience when you look in the mirror, and what you actually see visually with your eyes has very little bearing on that. It's crazy. It really is. The way I see it, there are kind of two ways that you can approach fitness and nutrition, right? There's the way where you think, right, okay, I need to reduce my body fat percentage, or I need to reduce my body fat, or I need to reduce my weight. And you look at these numbers, and then you orient your behavior around reducing those numbers. So you exercise more and you eat differently. And then there's the other way where you can think, right, I'm going to get really good at exercise. So I'm going to build up my deadlift, or I'm going to build up my bench press, or I'm going to get better at squatting, or I'm going to be better at clean and jerk, all of these kind of things. And then you eat in a way that supports that. And both of these involve training hard and eating well. But one of them, you frame all of the progress that you make in terms of getting better. I'm getting stronger. I'm getting faster. I'm getting speedier under the bar. I'm able to jump higher. And the other one is just you consistently weighing yourself and hoping that those numbers have gone down. And even though they both essentially take you to the same place, one of them is infinitely more fulfilling. I have never met a person who can deadlift twice their body weight, squat twice their body weight, and run a 5K in a reasonable time who looked bad. You can just aim at athletic goals and you'll get basically where you want to be, but you'll do it in a way that doesn't make you miserable. And that's not to say that if you want to lose body fat and you want to make that your priority, that that's wrong, or that you shouldn't do that. You should do whatever makes you happy. But I I believe this more than I believe almost anything else in fitness. If you focus on athleticism and eating in a way that makes you feel good, your body will change in a way that you enjoy, and you don't have to make yourself miserable while you're doing it. And I don't think that I could ever be convinced out of that position.
I won't even try to convince you because I'm on the same platform in speaking with that. Because which one actually sounded more empowering to you? Which one actually sounded more enticing?
Yeah, and they're both the same thing. They're both, I'm going to train and I'm going to eat well. It's just one of them, I'm going to train and I'm going to eat well because I need to make myself smaller. And the other one is, I'm going to train and I'm going to eat well because I want to be a better athlete. And they will both make you leaner. But yeah, one of them makes you feel like an absolute badass, and the other one just makes you feel like you're just hoping that things look different day to day, and it's not a good place to be in a lot of cases.
Living paycheck to paycheck, which is literally what it is. You're just waiting paycheck to paycheck, thinking about the next paycheck. Except it's not the next paycheck, it's the next meal, because all you're thinking about is food, and you're low on energy, and you're feeling like crap, and your performance is down. And the funny part is, which is something that I'm trying to include more, we'll talk after this, but actually emphasizing how important it is to fuel for performance. Because when you eat to perform, your performance equals your transformance. And that's a word now because I said it is. But at the same time, back to what I was saying, am I not human? Am I not doing the same things? Am I not showing you that by focusing on getting really strong and focusing on performance, that you can still look good? And it's almost like, do I look like shit to you? Because I'm not focusing on my body. Did I just turn to a potato? Does Tom look like a potato? Oh, well, it's for you to say. It was a struggle at first. Like, we went through our own struggles. But are you going to live in the struggles that you're currently living in? Or are you going to think ahead to the future you can have if you start thinking in a different way and actually condense the time it takes you to get there? Because now you actually have help if you ask for a coach. I'm done with that.
Don't really have anything to add to that.
I think we summed it up really well. And for those of you who probably heard the little scatter at the start and the scattered brain Ruby was dealing with a nosebleed, and she finally made a breakthrough halfway through this podcast, which led
I was about to commend you. For the people who can't see the video, Ruby's face has been exploding for this entire time with like full-on beach towels of like blood-soaked mat. So you did very well. That was an admirable effort.
It was right. I was running to the computer to get to the call because Tom called me, and I knocked my nose on the way. And then here I am trying to plug up one nostril. And while I'm plugging up one nostril, because it started getting so full, it started coming out the other nostril. And Tom just looks at me like, I'm just like, keep talking, bro.
Yeah. It's like, tell you what, I'll monologue for 3 minutes. You go and sort that out.
Oh, but I did sort it out, and I flushed myself with like the coldest of water, but now my head's really hot. But there's to show that sometimes you just got to show up anyway, even when you don't want to. I don't know, even when your nose is going against you. But it's like things are never going to go to plan. Things are never going to be perfect. Like, the perfect scenario was me sitting here without a nosebleed, but you know, we still pulled it off. I mean, like, it wasn't that bad. I mean, like, there was a lot of value in that, and if there wasn't, well, just listen to it again and you'll find something, because I'm putting my confidence right there, because damn right. Yeah, thank you for listening, guys. Is there anything else you want to sign off with?
No, that's everything. Just, yeah. If you're in this position where you are thinking that body fat and scale weight and all of that is the be all end all, like, as Ruby says, we get it, and it's not an easy thing to change that mentality. It's not an easy thing to move away from having body fat as your primary thing. But look, if that is you, and if you are struggling with body image, and if you are finding it really difficult to focus on other things, one of the best pieces of advice, I think, personally, based on my coaching experience, is to start videoing yourself in the gym. And when you watch the videos back, do everything you can to pay attention to the way you're executing movements, the way your exercises look, and then work on improving those. And over time, what you'll start seeing when you're looking at videos back of yourself is not, oh God, I hate the wobbly bits. Oh God, I hate my arms. Oh God, I hate my back. You're going to start seeing, oh, my deadlift line's looking a little bit better. Oh, look at my squat. I'm starting to squat to depth. Look at that. Jesus, if you see my overhead press, I look so much more stable. And over time, you start seeing your body not as this thing that you need to make smaller, but actually as this thing that's getting gradually better and better at moving. And I'm not saying that's going to fix everybody's body image issues. Some people need therapy, some people need other things. But it's a start, and it's something that you can do like today. Videoing yourself's terrifying, but over time it gets normal, and you might start seeing yourself a little differently if you focus a bit differently.
Sorry, I'm going to add more now because you just remind me of something. I made a promise to myself at the start of this year, yes, only this year, that I'm going to start putting up my videos regardless when I film them. Because what I realized is in the past, I would always delete videos if you could see my belly doing something, bracing in a certain way. And it was actually difficult at a particular point this year because I had a bigger belly than usual, and not a belly, like the bladder uterus area, because of the gut issues that I was having. And I still have that little bloat now, but it's just like, this is my body as it is. People need to stop pinning themselves to model worthy people. And I remember when I used to use the leg press when I first started, I wouldn't use a leg press without a towel over my belly, because we all know how big your belly gets on a leg press. Like, those are the things that you need to realize, that you're a human and humans breathe. And if, like, I have a couple of clients that are all sorts of fucked up with their breathing because they tried so long for most of their lives to not have a big belly. So they're shoulders up by their ears because they've been shallow breathers their whole lives. Like, that's stuff you then have to fix in order to get proper movement mechanics and to not be in so much pain. Like, our body image issues got so much dysfunction, it's not funny. But yeah, I just wanted to end on that note because that's really important.
It is.
So
it's mad what we do.
It is. It's mad what we do to yeah. Thanks. Listen. Bye. Ciao. I didn't know how to end that one.